Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Romper Crew. Couldn't tell you what episode we're on because my memory is pea-brain.
I don't know, like 12-ish
Yes.
at this point.
So we are here playing Mayo's second game of this cycle of games in the Romper Crew, which is Rocket Robot on Wheels for the Nintendo 64 by Sucker Punch Studios. I am your host, Yogamoanyo, also known as Yogi Bear or Clutchy. Or just Yogi for short. You can follow me.
Or Sui, or many other names.
Yeah, but for this show, it's mostly.
Oh, it actually was episode 12. That's right.
Yeah. Quiet Romper. Sorry about my dogs. Also, I'm using
very important. Blue nutting horse Twitter icon.
Oh, you're right. Thank you.
I forgot to acknowledge that in the last one.
Em, introduce yourself.
Hello, sentient cloud with tongue. How are you? I am good.
Good intro. And Mayonnaise Doctor.
Hello, everyone. Mayonnaise Doctor. Giant jar of mayonnaise. Don't ask about the Twitter icon. We can't draw birds.
You really can't.
Constipated blue jay.
Alright, and this is, again, Rocket Robot on Wheels. So I'm going to just take a moment to mention this to everybody. Sorry the layout for the Discord stuff changed a little bit. Discord was stupid and changed their UI. It does not look very good, honestly. And because of that, you can't see our glowing outlines. My particular circle looks like crap, and you can't tell if people are muted or not, unfortunately. But for anybody who's not watching visually, it's not going to make a big difference, luckily. But for people that are actually watching for like the gameplay and stuff, sorry that it looks a little floppier, to say the least. Well, yeah. All right. Yeah. So let's get started with things. All right. So let's start out with our history with Rocket. How about you start? Mayo, because also this game has Comic Sans. I just want to throw that out there. You know, all the dialogue is in Comic Sans. Thank God. So sorry, I just had to say that because I saw the text for like half a second.
Well, I'm gonna have really boring history. I don't have any. I literally just saw it on a Wikipedia page one day and was like, I should play that one day. And this was my excuse. So there you go. That's my history.
Okay. What about you, Em? Because I think I probably have a more long-winded history than you guys. It's not that much longer, but I feel like I probably have a bigger history.
Well, at a certain level, I guess a mild epiphany happened. Seems like you actually shared a screenshot of this game with Vic and me, or Vic and I, whenever we were in a Skype call all those years ago.
Yeah.
Please don't tell me it's the picture I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks.
No, there was no maturity in that image at all.
Oh,
yeah, definitely that picture.
Sex. Lol.
Yeah, he said that picture the other day.
Do you remember my sex image?
I'm sorry?
Oh, wait, do you not remember the... I'll have to send it to you again. I sent Mayo an image from that time.
Is it in Arabian Nights? I didn't want to say...
Yes.
Yeah, I remember seeing that image. For some reason, I had it saved on my hard drive.
Oh my god, you have it saved? Yes!
And I deleted it sometime this year.
It's okay, I'll resend it to you.
No, absolutely not.
Look, he made me suffer through it.
I'm so glad you remember it. Anyways, continue on.
That's literally my history.
That's all
literally the
the
only reference I have to this game prior to this.
That is so funny.
I thought that was an image of Banjo-Tooie. I really thought it was.
So glad that that is the image you remembered. I'm so glad that Mayo knows the origin of said image too, because I sent it to him. This makes everything so much better.
That is such a thirsty meme, I swear to God.
It is a meme that was written by a 5-year-old. So
Yeah.
it really wants to sound mature.
Pretty much. Okay. Well, I guess I'll move on to my history with the game then. So basically, I want to say when I was browsing Cool ROMs, like, you know, if you guys remember that website.
Oh yes,
Be
still
careful. Be careful not to, link anywhere.
Well, I'm not gonna link it. I'm just saying. I'm telling you guys
Right.
what I remember. This is how I did it. I mean, people, look, it's a really old game, and a lot of people are probably gonna know this website anyways, and all that sort of stuff. So it's not like it bugs me. Also, just wanted to point this out too. I forgot to mention, made this beautiful background of that you see in the background. Just wanted to put that one out there. Anyways, so I think I was browsing that website, and I think I was just looking at like N64 games, and I was like, oh, this looks like a interesting game, I guess, sort of thing, right? And I was like, I want to play this game, and I downloaded it. I think this was before I met Vic, which is a longtime friend of us, me and Ems. And I think there was a point where I showed Vic the game, and we decided we were going to play through it together, basically, at the same time on Skype. And I think M was in those calls, as we've established.
This is over a decade ago.
Yeah, this is over a decade ago. This is like 2011, I think, was the image
More
date.
like 2009, probably.
It wasn't that. I've only known Vic since I think 2010.
Then it would be just under a decade.
Yeah, it's been a long time, regardless. But yeah, so then we played through the game up to Arabian Flights. We stopped there, which is about the halfway point of the game. I don't know what made us stop. Maybe we lost interest or something. And yeah, and then what's it called? And then this was my excuse to replay through the game. I guess at this point, because Mayo brought it up, and I never finished the game fully, so this is my time to finish up the game. So that's kind of where we're at now, and that is really my history with the game. I'm the only one who has some actual
Any
history.
really.
Yeah.
Unless you count the Emerald seeing that picture meme you sent.
Is your literal exposure of this game the same as mine?
The picture? No.
I sent him the
Okay.
picture while or after he finished the game.
Yeah.
While he was playing it, one of the two.
Oh boy.
It was while I was playing, but I was towards the end. I think I was already in the food stage.
Now he can't unsee it, so it's great. I'm not showing the image on screen.
It's-
But, yeah.
You might not want to, because you two being as stringent as they are now.
Yeah, probably not. Romper, quiet your mouth.
He showed clown dick on screen. I know, that's a bit much, but still.
Alright, well, that's all our history. So I guess I have the most. Again, not too surprised, especially because I think at the end of the last episode, I kind of was like, oh, I'm playing this game, I remember this game.
Yeah, you was, and then two of us are like, what is this? Like, I recommended it, and I don't even know what it is.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. So let's move on to our immediate first impressions. Does anybody want to take it off? And by first impressions, let's say this first level, because it is a short game. So, and who wants to start off with talking about first impressions of the game? So just like how you felt initially. So like, not going into many detail. You know, just your first general impressions.
It's kind of hard to do that because my opinions from the first level were my opinions for the whole game.
Oh?
Okay. Well, I mean, you
Yeah,
can,
like, I don't think my opinion changed at all.
that's fine. You could elaborate if you want.
Cute, charming. I ended up liking it, although fell victim to a lot of the traps that a lot of 3D platformers did at the time. I do like that the game has a camera feature, which a lot of games at the time didn't. What I like a lot less is that it's fixed distance, and every time you want to change the camera, it plays a really obnoxious sound effect.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. It really is.
I tolerated that. That wasn't an issue for me, per se.
I got used to it eventually, but that's exactly the problem. I got used to it. I never liked it.
Just because you can get used to it doesn't make it better. It is a very
Constantly
obnoxious
listening
sound,
to a blender go off every time you press a button on your controller.
And there are parts like I actively avoid using the camera for a good chunk of the game, but then once you get to the last couple levels, it's basically mandatory.
Yeah.
Well, I remember
The Arabian level onward.
Oh, the later bit of the game. Oh, that's...
Alright, so you can go next. What is
First impressions, the game is, to me, bland. Very bland. Fun to play at first, but bland. To me.
Alright, he's kicked off of the show. Say bye to Em.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah, like we literally have the exact opposite first impression. Good to know.
Is there anything else you can think of? Like, this is just going off the first stage, too. Because obviously things could potentially change, and Omeo said his doesn't really change. But,
Well, my question, as well as criticism, is why clowns?
why?
That's such a
Honestly,
generic...
fair question.
Such a generic choice.
I mean, it's supposed to be a theme park. I
That's
Don't
fine.
work.
It's just... Clowns?
There's way less the clowns after the first stage.
I know, but it doesn't exactly help its first impressions.
True.
But I'll say this too, if the first impressions whenever it comes to the game's physics, it's surprisingly very physics-based.
Ballbusters
Like,
flashback
this is-
intensify.
I'm sorry?
You said Ballbusters flashbacks intensify.
No, the
No, it's
physics
nowhere
in this...
near Ball Busters. The physics here actually work.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
most of the time.
They're
It's a
surprisingly
64
good.
game.
They honestly, surprisingly are very impressive,
So
if you
that
ask
was-
me.
That was basically my first impression. I was like, oh, the physics are really good. The jumping felt really good to me and all that sort of stuff. And it felt just kind of like a collect-a-thon to me. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't say bland for my first impressions, but I feel like a good word for it was it felt kind of generic-ish. It felt like, I guess bland would be a pretty good description. I take everything back. It
Well,
did feel
I mean,
kind
it's-
of blandish to me, and the very stock sounding music didn't help make it feel any less bland.
I'm
So-
noticing they're using some of probably the same sound font you'd hear. I mean, at that point, what I'm about to say is pretty stupid because this is an N64 title. Of course it's going to have the same sound font as Ocarina of Time and Mario 64.
Be surprised it's the N64 after all.
But I noticed, whenever listening to the lava, it uses the exact same sound effect that you would hear in Ocarina of Time, which I
Again,
found strange.
Not too surprised.
But I mean, that's not music, though.
stock sounds and effects and all that sort of stuff are pretty common around this area. I mean, it's still common today, but it was so much more noticeable back then. So. All right, well let's move on. We're gonna start we're gonna move on to story. This one's really simple. Rocket is not a robot on wheels. He is a robot on a singular wheel.
Never gonna let that one go, are you? It's
False
getting out of here.
advertising, I want my money back.
Yeah, exactly. So he is a singular robot on a wheel. And he's a singular robot on one wheel. So he So he is I guess a service robot. I don't know if they really if they
I
tell
don't think
you.
they actually explain to you.
He's just kind of a robot, I guess. That he is told to make sure, I guess, everything's gonna go smoothly for the new park of Whoopie World opening. Which Whoopie World Whoopie is a big fat walrus that looks like the moose from Sly 2.
Oh my god, that name. Oh my god, I'm glad we're not back in the 50s. Oh, okay.
But so yeah, he tells us, make sure everything goes fine. Then obviously there's Jojo the raccoon doing some mischievous stuff. He's like, I should be the mascot of the park because I do more than this lazy walrus. And he goes and steals all the tokens and Tinker tokens and all that, or tokens, tickets, tinker tokens, all that sort of stuff, so he can make his own theme park in his name, and you have to stop him. That is the story. It's a platforming game, so I'll give it the whole like simple story or ideal is fine. You know,
it doesn't really need to be an epic.
Yeah. If anything, I do actually kind of. I think it's like. What is the word I'm thinking of? I think it's pretty good for setting up, I guess, what kind of stuff you're going to be doing in the game. Like it's simple, to the point, all that sort of stuff.
Not really intrusive at all. Like you have an opening cutscene and an ending cutscene.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll be talking about the stuff more in depth, because I think I have some things to say about this chicken. But yeah, that's the story. You guys think it's simple, intrusive, fine?
It's fine as a simple story.
Yeah, it's
I mean, I'm not complaining about it.
not too crazy.
It's alright.
Yeah, it's fine. So then I have to ask, I guess we'll move on to, in that point, game control. So it's a simple collect-a-thon game where you have to collect stuff that's all around, more akin to like Banjo-Kazooie. Because of the whole, like, the tickets are essentially like the jiggies, they're the main collectibles, it's how you progress further in the game. And what's it called? And yeah, you just got to collect the stuff, you get new moves, and you go on forth into your worlds, and that's that. Yeah, I think the gameplay it's solid. It works fine. I think the controls are good. It's very physics based. They work really hard. Like they try really hard to hamper in the whole physics thing. But I think it's good. Like I think the gameplay is good. I think the controls overall are really good. Honestly, I think the physics were really spot on. Like I felt like the jumping for the most part felt like all of my jumps and everything worked very well. For what it was, and I think the controls overall were pretty good for the physics. Sometimes it acts a little wonky, and I'll get into that for some later levels. But overall, I do think it was the gameplay simple. It's fine. It works as is. It's a collect-a-thon game like you'd expect. I don't think it had the gameplay depth and the fun of kind of Banjo-Kazooie that I liked, or that maybe it's just the level design that didn't tickle my fancy, outside of like a very select few, which we'll get into again later on. But yeah, that's what I thought. What about you guys?
Controls were all alright for the most part. I don't know if I really agree with the jumping feeling. Like it always felt like it was a little too light for me. Like I was just over jumping a little bit, and that lasted until I unlocked the double jump, which actually took me a surprisingly long time considering my total playtime.
What was your total playtime?
What's up?
What was your total playtime?
I have no idea because I idled for a really long time.
What was your total playtime, Emerald Master?
I have no clue, but I'll say it's probably around 6 to maybe 8 hours. Because, well, the controls at the first of the game, they're fine. They are. And I would rather put my bit off for explaining the control aspect, in my opinion, until we... Well, actually, I'll go ahead and explain it. The controls for the second half of the game, it infuriated me.
The only real controls that personally, I forgot to mention this, that really personally bugged me is the camera. The camera in this game is honestly awful, in my opinion.
I dipped on that before. It is so bad.
Yeah.
Like, for the time, I'm sure it was great, but
I
now
think
it tastes like milk.
I
it's
am
better
so
than-
glad that nobody heard the awful shit that flew out of my mouth whenever it came to the camera, the controls. It was terrible. It is terrible.
Well, I honestly
The game itself, in theory, is not the problem. It was how the camera likes to fight with you all the time.
It really is.
I feel like it got so bad in quite a few instances where I nearly unplugged my controller and threw it on the floor.
Damn.
The game actually made me that bad in a couple of instances.
Pure unadulterated gamer rage.
Yeah.
Get Romper.
All for a
Jesus.
babby game.
I'm so sorry about my dogs. They are literally barking at every single car that crosses by the road for some reason.
Over a babby game.
Oh, but a bad.
That camera is awful. It's terrible. Okay?
Agreed.
I would not subject my worst enemy to it.
The camera.
It's
this
awful.
Is one of the worst cameras I've had to deal with in a
Oh
while.
my-
Some areas
oh.
it's fine. Like I think for like the first level, it's totally fine. But once things
I
start getting
think it's fine in the first couple stages. Like once it got to that mine level, that's where it really started getting bad.
yeah, when things start to get really closed in, that's when things become
Yes.
a problem.
Yes.
So
And it actually pushed me to a point where I was getting unfairly mad at Mayo in private because
oh my god.
you recommended this game. How dare you?
Wait, did he yell at you in private chat?
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to subject anyone to that. And unfortunately I have. Not the rage from this game, I'll say that much. The game already subjected its bullshit onto me. Actually, all of us.
So I think that's gameplay, or the gameplay controls for it seems like a good point to end on that note for that. So now let's move on.
Camera sucked.
Yeah, camera sucked. I think we're all in
That's-
agreement that it was completely awful. So
Lack of 2 literally being as drunk as possible.
So let's move on to then
Without dying.
yeah. So let's move on to this one. I think is going to be pretty short. Let's move on to music and sound design. So I think I already dabbled a little bit on my opinion on at least the music and stuff, and a bit of the sound design because of the camera. I think all the sound effects outside of the camera are fine. They're passable. The music in this game, to me personally, is so boring, and in some places,
It's
very,
so what now?
so boring. And in a few select spots, it actively pissed me off, and I'll elaborate on that on individual levels, because there's one level in particular that it was driving me insane. But after a while, I'll be honest, I listened to the music of the levels for a little bit, and then I was like, okay, this is starting to bore me, and I just kind of put on my own music because I already heard the music at that point, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna move on to something that'll, like, I can actually just play the game to and sort of, numb my mind to. Like, the music isn't bad per se, but it's so
Just
boring and forgettable. Yeah, it's really bland and forgettable. It's not that it's
Thank
bad.
you for saying that, actually. Really, thank you for saying that. Because
You're
I
welcome.
agree 100%.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. Like, sound effects, I think are totally fine. Aside from that awful camera. Music, it's like, it's not like the music's bad. It's not. It's just boring.
It's really, yeah, exactly. That I don't think it's bad because it's not like bad or annoying or anything. I strictly turned it off because I was like, okay, this is
It
just
is
boring.
pure background noise.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, this is background noise, like pure background noise as background noise can get. Like I think I was thinking about.
So it's white noise, huh?
Yeah.
Basically, to me. And it's not even like ambient music, which Mayo usually would not like. It's actual like tunes and grooves.
Yeah, no, it's just like, I feel like they probably rushed this soundtrack. too
I
much.
wonder if we're just not secretly tainted by The World Ends With You.
Possibly.
Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it.
we also
been
got
spoiled.
we also got spoiled with how good that soundtrack was.
I'm not going to go and say, oh, it's the greatest thing ever, but it is truly a fantastic soundtrack. But this is not about that now, is it?
Willie to Rocket is just an insult when it comes
Yeah, that's really unfair of a comparison. I mean, though some Banjo Kazooie games, some games do have on the N64 do have really good soundtracks. I guess I was thinking like Banjo Kazooie.
Well, I mean, at least with Banjo Kazooie, it was entertaining to listen to.
Oh yeah, it's memorable. I remember a lot of Banjo Kazooie tunes personally.
I don't remember a single one, but each their own. But it's still better than this game, that's for sure.
In this game, again, I don't think any of us think the soundtrack in this game is inherently bad.
It's not. It's just boring. Which is debatably worse, because at least bad you can make fun of.
True.
The music to me in this game is generic, but I still agree with you 100% regardless of my own opinion. It's one of these, no, this is not good music if you ask me.
Yeah, well, your opinions don't count. Sorry.
Oh, so that means yours doesn't count either, because I actually agreed with you.
Absolutely. As in, you're absolutely correct. So, but yeah, that I guess.
Also, I heard you like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I do. I'm actually a little upset this is a one-time gimmick. This is one of the few gimmicks I kind of actually like. Well, whatever. Alright, well, let's move on to then, since we did this with Mario 64, we can do it with here. I figured we'd do it here, and probably going to do this for most Collect-a-thons in general. Let's talk about the individual levels. First of all, I feel like it's fair to talk about the overworld, because the overworld is kind of like its own little mini-level.
Kind of.
So
Technically.
I figured it'd be fair to talk about it. What did you guys think, I guess, of the overworld then in general?
Absolutely, utterly lackluster.
It's very... I wish they didn't make the central hub area, or whatever you would call it. I really wish they didn't make it so empty and barren. I kind of wish they enclosed it a bit, as much as I hate the enclosed camera controls. I wish they would enclose it a bit, because it feels really empty in that, but other than that, I think it's fine. I mean, like, it doesn't really...
It works, although I do kind of, like, this is purely from someone that beat the game 100%. Find some of the tickets that were hidden there was absolutely terrible. My last tickets in this game were in the overworld, and they were in really stupid locations.
Yeah,
like being hid behind a wall.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we all.
There was one hidden behind the Roman level, for instance. I didn't believe where that one was.
That one is not nearly.
The game.
That one's not nearly as bad as what the others were.
Yeah,
that
like
was
the
last one for me.
The one in JoJo's eye or mouth, I didn't expect. It took me a while to figure.
That one I got right away, thankfully, because you can go into the game and it gives you hints. And that's one of the hints I saw.
Yeah,
so.
But the hint was not very helpful if you don't
I must have really
B
not paid
here.
attention to the hint.
I mean, the hint was like, it's get a hint straight from his mouth. I was like, okay, I'm going to go over to the JoJo statue's mouth, and yeah, I got right away, no issues.
Well, here's the problem with that. You wouldn't assume that his nose is actually grappleable.
Yeah, I didn't assume his nose was grappleable.
I didn't actually either. I just always
Because
held down
I
the grapple
actually
button.
had to pull up a video. Actually, multiple, just to get the last few tickets because, well...
I'll admit I did have to guide
I did too.
One or two things. It wasn't like an insane amount, but I did have to
for
guide.
me it was a different reason. Which you can probably guess if you've seen enough of Romper Crew where that little complaint is going.
Yeah.
Hint colors.
So, speaking of which, in general, thankfully, this is the only stage that, and don't spoil this for the later part, the later stages. It was like the only stage where getting all the tokens wasn't that bad.
For me, this was one of the worst.
For me, it wasn't, because me and Mayo 100% the game. Getting all of the tokens is obviously one of the things you have to do. For me,
Well,
it wasn't
I sent
this
you a
stage.
screenshot when I got to 199, and I spent another hour or so after that. I could not find that last token to save my life.
Yeah, that right there, I can understand that being a big problem.
Oh,
I know
can
that is
too.
a problem with other Collect-a-thon games, but this game just has it awful. And there are Collect-a-thon games that resolved it fine. R64, you only need 100 coins. You don't need to collect them all.
Banjo-Kazooie?
3, you can point straight towards the closest gem. Problem solved. This game-
Banjo-Kazooie, they're all kind of just there, you know? So it's kind of hard to miss, honestly. Like, they're all kind of on the paths you're going to go when collecting stuff. So...
Kazooie, yes. 2E, no.
Yeah,
With
Tui,
this-
they're literally just right in front of you.
Well, whenever it comes to this
I think
game,
you know
the-
2E a little too well.
The worst
don't.
part, whenever it comes to this, is you've got multiple currency collectibles. That can be a big problem, you know.
Yeah, that could be later on, but for the most part, I
Because-
kind of
I
understand
think it
what
was
I'm
fine.
missing.
Like it's working by Zelda, Logic, Spyro. It's
That's fine and
Figure
all.
it
It's
out.
just the problem is, by that technicality, there can actually be only 20 tokens by, you know, technicality in the level itself, and you would never know.
Guess I kind of see what
I
you're
mean,
saying.
it's technically possible. I guess
I
there's
mean-
no Spyro too well to fall for something like that. I guess.
Well, yeah, but ultimately what I'm getting at is there's no way to make things a little easier with, you know, showing where this and that might be.
Oh yeah, there's absolutely no way to tell. You
There's
have to
not
literally-
even a radar. There
You have to
really is.
literally-
Yeah, no,
scour
that is the
the-
big problem.
Yeah, you literally
That-
have to scour the
Like
entire
again,
level.
you can play when I was comparing Spyro. Spyro, you hold down shoulder buttons and it points towards the nearest gem. It's easy. It's great. This
Either
game has
I don't-
nothing of the sort.
Either I don't remember that, or I never used that whenever you're bringing up Spyro.
You probably never used it. It was like a secret
yeah,
thing.
Spyro 2 and 3, you could hold down shoulder buttons and sparks would point towards the nearest gem.
Yeah, it was basically a secret thing until Spyro 3, where they made it an actual ability.
I mean, it was in the instruction manual, but you know, instruction manual.
Well, when I was a kid, I read instruction manuals. They were nice looking. But
And
yeah,
I like to look at all the pretty pictures of the games.
it's true. I do. Do we have any more opinions on the overworld? Anybody have anything they want to say about the overworld?
I guess it's fun. Like, there was one really BS ticket too, as well, that I want to point out, which is towards the later portion. I think it was the H ticket, where you have to go through a wall that is invisible, but it looks like it's not. But you just have to run through it, and the only clue they give you is
They
that there's a
don't-
line
they
of
don't-
tickets.
I don't think they give you a clue there. I had nothing. I did
The
not
only
expect
clue is
it.
that they have is a line of tokens, but if you grab those tokens, just saying it's another line of tokens, then you're screwed.
Which is what I did. That's one of the few I had.
Yep,
a
that's
guide
what I
on.
did too.
Yeah, that's one of the few
So
I
dumb.
actually had to use a guide on because I was like, what are they trying? What am I supposed to do? Like, I don't understand how I'm missing this. And yeah, that is one of the ones I've used guides
I
for.
think I also done it with that one ticket that was hidden behind a secret hatch. If that's the one you're talking about.
Just hidden behind a secret wall, literally an invisible wall.
It was in the last area of the open world.
Yeah. There's only like
The
3
escape
areas, I would
and-
say. The intro section with the entrance to this world and the main hub, and then the second part.
And also, let me express frustration for the general game in this manner. Why? Okay, first of all, Banjo-Kazooie would do this from time to time, but I mean, at least with that game, it was relatively easy to control your way back up. But in this game, when falling back down, surely I'm not the only one here. Am I the only one that gets so frustrated whenever I fall back to the bottom of, let's say, a whale or a tower-like structure like this?
No, I would
I
get-
fell
would
off
get-
this specific tower several times.
And the
I-
oh my god!
I got.
Like, I'm gonna be honest,
out of
I
it.
started saying stakes coming after a while because I was getting so frustrated.
Yes, yeah, I can
Yeah,
understand that, and I would sympathize with that honestly. 'cause
I was getting frustrated, especially in some other
the
stages.
grapple mechanic in this game is weird.
Let's just say this is a little hint for later. One of the very last worlds, I wanted to cry from falling.
Yeah.
You would not want to hear the shit that flew out of my mouth, and none of you would.
I think Mayo knows
it
exactly
was
what I'm
awful.
talking about too. So
I'm not
Also-
sure at all,
also
but-
one thing one thing that I forgot to mention too,
Oh,
about
speaking of falling off towers,
yeah.
You see what I mean?
One thing I did get, one thing I do want to mention too that I didn't mention about the gameplay and stuff like that, which this will come into play later on. I feel like one thing that's very obnoxious too is when you die, it always puts you back at the beginning of the stage.
it's not so bad in this level, but in some of the bigger stages, it can.
Oh, yeah.
Some other stages it is much, yeah. It doesn't make a difference here, but when you start
I
getting
think
to
the
later
last two
stages, it
levels are
matters.
probably the really obnoxious ones with that.
Ooh, whenever I
I'll
get
tell you
to
which
that,
ones
I'm
personally,
going to
but-
be very vocal about my opinion on the last level.
All right, so let's
Actually, last few, I should say.
let's go on to talk about I guess actual stages now. So let's talk about Clowny Island, the first stage. Honestly, it's a very good introduction stage, but it doesn't really like the next few stages. They try to mess with the gimmicks, and some of them I think are fine. This is it's obviously the first stage, so they're gonna make things very easy and very simple and straightforward.
Yeah.
I think it's
Which
fine.
was perfectly fine.
I think it's a totally I think it's a totally
Yeah,
fine
it's acceptable.
intro stage. It's not really bad. It's not the best stage. It's not my favorite stage in the game personally. But it's fine. Luckily it's overall I would say good. There's nothing that really got on my nerves or frustrated me or whatever. So
The only thing that really frustrated me in this level, again, was the fact that they had random one-off tokens hidden in random breakable stuff, which is where that last one I had ended up being. So I had to break everything in the level to see if any of them had what I needed.
this is like the only stage where you actually have to like backtrack to properly to get abilities if you're not 100%ing the game normally.
Oh, he's about to just 100% the level itself without even doing that.
I'm missing 10
And he
tokens.
just did.
No, I'm missing 10 tokens. I think I know where they're at, though.
10?
Yeah.
Oh, right, you got some in the first, in the hub area.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something else. It's kind of irritating how you don't have your, you know...
How doesn't show the total of the stage? I mean, you can just quickly
Yeah.
pause and it tells you, which is
Yeah,
fine.
it's easy enough.
I'm used to the
I don't
Spyro
mind
2
it.
and 3 logic, so it doesn't bug me.
I think I'm on the same page as Yogi here. I know how it works. You can
Yeah.
check it easy enough by hitting start, so it's whatever.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
it's not like
at
it
least
takes
with
too long.
Spyro, it wasn't something that was really, per se, an outright issue. With
Spyro,
this,
it takes
feels
longer. You have to
different.
open up the atlas for the later games. Spyro 1 has it fine because it shows you by stage. But anyway, sorry, continue.
I mean, really, that's my only issue whenever it comes to the interface.
That's fine. But we're talking about Clowny World. I don't know if you guys have really anything to mention in the stages. Very simple, very to
Not
the
a whole
point.
lot that we haven't already mentioned. Random roller coaster tycoon bit. There's a
Best
part where they
part.
want you to drive that is something that makes me think of. It's probably just telling me how much I want to play Final Fantasy VII remake, but there's a part that reminds me of the Honeybee Inn. So,
Are you talking
that's
about the
something-
minigames?
yes, or no, not that. There's the bee hanging out right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's all the spinning platforms.
Don't
that remake.
be it that way.
Ha, ha,
Ah,
ha.
ha, 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 ha.
That's
Man,
how this level makes me
even Mayo
feel.
wasn't all about that pun. And usually he likes these terrible puns.
Well, I mean, like I said, that's what this level makes me feel like.
Alright, I am not gonna search for this token.
And the best part, there's a weenie car.
Where's a weenie car? Speaking of which, there's a vehicle in every stage, so we guess we can mention a very
Some
very
stages have
briefly.
two vehicles.
Yeah, this stage I think has a fine controlling vehicle. It's fun for what you got to do, so you know it works.
It works here.
And speaking of later stages, we are going to move on to the next stage. Then, Ain't Misbehavin', also known as the Rome level. So, how do you guys feel about this level? I feel like it's going to be very hit or miss. I want to say I like the level because it's very simple. and to the point, but there's a few things that I don't like. But since I went first last time for Clowny World, somebody else take it.
Okay,
Well-
so, I'll let you go.
Sorry, which one of us is going?
You're going.
All right. Well, again, it feels very generic, but I felt everything was fine, but just a tad too cryptic. But that might be due to the fact that I have a bit of a hand-holding problem needed for some games. But
That's fair. I feel like there's some.
the
parts that
second
felt a little
half
cryptic.
of this level, and it carried over, unfortunately, things became a headache. The second half of the Roman stage
Paint Misbehaving is the name if you're curious.
became an absolute headache because of the way this right here is bullshit. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was one of my last ones too.
Yeah, that one was pretty BS. I think I found it just 'cause I was sitting there for a second. I was like, oh.
You can't
The hits in the game does not help at all. That one.
no
Sorry,
radar.
continue on though, with Paint Misbehaving.
Yeah, the second half of that stage is where my problem starts. It is such a headache at that point. That's ultimately my issue. The paint yourself mechanic is smart. It's genuinely a clever one. And it gets reused at a later point. I won't specify when.
Until we get there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it was used here was actually...
Creative, fun.
Yeah, it was a genuinely good puzzle. I mean, it may have taken me a good few minutes to figure it out, but
It takes us all a few minutes to
actually
complete.
more like half an hour total, probably.
That's how long it took me. I had to brute force it.
And then until you finally figure out, oh, you have two parts of your body you can color.
And I figured that part out.
Maybe you should try and dress up like this guy. Lo and behold, it worked.
Well, I mean, they make it obvious. It says you don't look like a royal guard if you talk to him
They
or
do.
try to get in.
He's wearing glasses though. It feels weird. The fact he's wearing glasses while he's in a knight's outfit. I would expect him to be under it, but this is a
He
cartoon
kind
game.
of reminds
so...
me of the pickle from SpongeBob.
Oh, Kevin.
Kevin, the pickle, you know, the sea pickle. That's all I could think of, at least when I saw him.
That's a comparison.
Oh God, no! Don't ruin Kevin.
Sorry.
No.
So, all right, Mayo, you were gonna go with M next. Looks like he's done.
Well,
I'm
his-
done. So
So, first off, yeah, you can probably guess. Not a big fan of the color gimmick. You know, colorblind. I had to brute force it. Not fun. Thankfully, I found out the two halves thing pretty quick. It took me like 2-3 minutes to find that one. But I had to brute force everything to find out which color was what, and then talk to him, hope that I'm right. I probably wasn't. Then go back again. And I just had this over and over and over again.
I didn't consider colorblind. Yeah, that had to have sucked for you. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The one later in the game was worse.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That was awful.
Oh. Mm.
Can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on that when it comes. Which will come
Yeah.
soon.
Aside from that, I didn't have too many issues here. It took me a really long time to figure out the whole sheep sticking to the thorns gimmick. Although in hindsight, that did make
They
sense.
don't make that obvious. That's a
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of do. If you turn around, there's literally a sheep stuck on a wall. Granted, maybe it's hard to figure out that it's supposed to attach to the thorn. You could think it's just that specific wall. So maybe I guess I
that's
can
what
see
I
it from-
assumed.
Oh, okay. So I can see it. Yeah, I can see the confusion from that point then.
I thought something was supposed to activate whenever it came to that wall until later. Oh, it's just the vehicle's up there. That's literally all that's here. It's not a button, which might I add, buttons in this game don't even have a press animation. I consider that a bit of a problem because
They get pushed down.
they don't visually push down.
They do. What?
No, they don't. They really don't. They
Sure they
actually
do.
don't.
Maybe I'm insane. I am insane.
I mean,
but
they're
I
clearly
remember it being
buttons.
that way too.
They
that they
just
pressed
don't
down, or that
visually,
they didn't press down visually.
Visually, they never press down, but they are buttons.
Mayo, did you see him press down visually?
I thought they pressed down. Maybe I'm remembering weird.
Maybe I am too. I don't know. We'll see if a button comes soon.
There should be some here, but
Yeah, I know there's some in the second section at the very least of the river spot. Which, speaking of screw that section, that was awful.
Yeah.
the what now?
The river section. Like,
Yes,
it started
that was
fine,
horrendous.
But the second you have to get into the dolphin vehicle, that's when it all goes downhill.
Oh yes, the lovely, I guess, river dashing area that involves avoiding whirlpools. That was fun.
I didn't have issues with the
Oh yeah, and
whirlpools
if you get
personally.
sucked into them, they sink you all the way back to the start of the river.
Woohoo!
That
Yay!
sounds like you guys had issues with that, which
I only got sucked down by one of them at just once, but
Fair, so did I, but that one time terrified me.
it was irritating because these whirlpools fight with you so aggressively
I mean they are whirlpools.
that it's actually very difficult to do anything.
But let's not forget, the dolphin doesn't exactly control the best in the first place, so I was inching my way along, desperately trying not to fly off into random directions, but you can't do it because of the pools.
Speaking of which, I am not a fan of the dolphin vehicle at all.
Yeah, no.
Don't like it.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I'd call my least favorite vehicle in the game, but it's,
I may be one of the
it's
very
down there.
few people that loves Sonic's underwater stages because of how different it is that it's executed.
I mean, I
But
like all that
this
aren't
was-
named Labyrinth Zone, basically.
I'm sorry?
I'm okay with some of them, just not Labyrinth.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, I enjoyed Labyrinth. It's just whenever you're unfamiliar with
it's
it,
in the wrong game is my problem.
Okay.
It's a game about
Anyhow.
going fast, not slow. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
That was
I think it was Mayo's
My
turn
turn.
still. So
I think I was
Go on,
basically
'cause
done.
my
Just
brain's-
that I hate the colors gimmick, and I had a really hard time with the river section, specifically
say
once you
this-
get the dolphin.
would you
Like,
say
the
this is
immediate
your
river section was fine.
would you say this is your least favorite level?
I don't know what. This definitely isn't it. If it was anything, it was probably the mine stage. But
Yes. Dear
Which is-
God.
we get to
that-
talk about next, which is great.
Oh.
So, I guess my opinion on it, personally, then is, I was fine with the first half of the stage. I thought it was kind of fun, creative with the paint stuff. I can see why Mayo would be frustrated, though, especially with color blindness and all that sort of stuff. But for me, personally, I enjoyed it, the first half. The second half, I absolutely hated, and this is for one. This will give me a perfect opportunity to talk about one thing. So there are machine parts in every level that will either open certain areas up, or
yes, that was another problem I had.
or it will completely change the level. This has one of the most boring machine parts, period. Which is that all it does is make the what's it called? It just makes the water
Makes
go
the
up in
water
one
go up a
section.
little
It is so boring. It's such a small thing, but it's boring to me.
Well,
And
it could have been interesting if they'd done it like
Sure.
that. Is if they actually made it where part of the level was actually legitimately flooded.
I thought it was gonna do something like that, but it didn't, and I was like, that's disappointing.
That way, you would get the most out of the actual vehicle that you unlock for this. Well, the second vehicle you unlock for this stage. But they didn't go for that.
The first vehicle is kind of negligible. I think it's like in terms of talking about, like I think it's fine, but it's not like it's nothing too crazy to talk about is the thing. So
Like it did its job. I didn't have any major control issues with it. It was just there.
So yeah, so my opinion was I did not like I liked the first half, the second half I didn't like, and this was also the first stage that I missed. my first stupid token in really bad, and I had no idea where it was for, I think, like, almost 2 hours. It was awful. And it was in such a tiny spot. I can't wait to show you guys where it is, and I cried, basically.
Funny enough, I think this was the only level where I didn't have major... Well, I didn't have any issues in the Raven stage either, but every other stage... Oh boy.
Yeah, that's literally the solution right there.
Yep. But yeah,
and if
no.
you're colorblind, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, sorry, Mayo. That sucks for you. This is why you don't make color puzzles unless you have a colorblind option. But this was also at a different time, so I guess I'm not too.
Yeah, I don't really hold that against the game too much. It's just I wish it was done differently, but
exploring this level so much, honestly, kind of started making it one of my least favorite levels in the entire game. I'll be completely honest. I don't know if that's fair for some people, but because of that alone, it started. It's not my least favorite level, but it's damn near.
That's the reason why I ended up disliking the mine so much. Well, one of the reasons.
It's just
I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but
it's just damn near.
Oh
close.
yeah, it's got a color puzzle too, so
yeah, it does.
Sort of, kinda.
Luckily, that one you can figure out.
That one wasn't anywhere near as hard.
Yeah, because of the different shapes.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, and the second half, I mentioned it already, and I'll mention it again. I was not a fan of the what's it called? Oh my goodness, it's itching. I wasn't a fan of the my face is itching part. No, I wasn't a fan of the underwater, like not the underwater section, but like the second vehicle, which is like a flipper fin dolphin thingy. It just didn't feel like it controlled very well. It was slow, and then that entire section was long. Also, going through that section like 7 times over to try to find this one stupid token I was missing was really putting me on edge.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons
I've never struggled
like
so hard with the clown. Game. Oh my lord. Stop it. Okay. This is the first time I've ever struggled with the clown.
Stupid clown.
Just give it something else. Jeez.
Probably should have. But yeah, no, I like the first half. The second half, not really. I don't care about it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It looks pretty. That's about as far as I'm going to go for it.
I think the second part is also a little too open for its own good, which doesn't really help its case very much, in my opinion. But yeah, this level is one of my least favorites for all those reasons that I explained. The first half totally fine. The second half, I don't know where the quality decided to go, but you know.
Then we decided to go to the first half.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Let's move on to. Mind-blowing. So I guess, Mayo, you can start this one off.
Through the stage, I hate it with a passion.
Yes,
there's literally nothing here I like. There it is. Okay, so, first off, there is several grapple chains in this stage, which I just, for the life of me, cannot figure out the time for these. Apparently they wanted you to use your double jump option, which I didn't even realize you could do that until literally, like, no one's on me, but problems I had was a lot of the other minigames. Like there's the minigame that has the explosive diamonds, which we alluded to earlier. Screw that minigame. I hate it. Or the minecart. It's awful. It's like a worse version of the coaster in Ape Escape. I just wanted out of it. And I didn't even like the coaster in Ape Escape.
That's probably my least favorite part of that game, probably.
Yeah, at least you can
Just
actually see where you're going.
Forget about the fact that you combo the two issues I just stated together at one point. You have to go on one of those minecarts, then you have to jump off it, then you have to go on a grapple chain for several of them. You have to do it fast, or else you're going to miss your.
It has to do it fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you have anything else you want more? Any more grievances you want to add on to how?
Also, also this was the first level to introduce the bomb.
Yes.
The bomb.
The bomb is.
The bomb is awful.
They shouldn't have made it so that it explodes if it touches anything, because the physics
that
in this
was
game.
the reason why was so bad.
Yeah, because the physics in this game can make things a little wonky, and that sucks, because I think the bomb would be fine if it wouldn't explode on contact
jiggle
on
around
everything.
when it... Yeah, because how your grapple works, things jiggle around when you're running around.
Or when you're jumping, and one of the big problems too is that they'll have like a lot of slopes and all that sort of stuff, and because of that, you have to be very, very, very careful in certain spots, and it's just...
you have to carry them out because there's a bunch of destructible walls. Oh, and there's one in particular that's underground, so you have to stand on this elevator to hope that an enemy doesn't come charging at you, which happens to be a lot, and then you have to go down, you finally get down to the little spot, and then the bomb blows up anyway because the way down is too tight.
Yep.
Okay, now
you need a bomb for that because there's a destructible...
Okay, that button pressed down for some reason.
Yeah.
That's the only button I've seen that's pressed down.
I swear I've seen them all pressed down, but I'll take your word.
Me too. Yeah, I don't know.
But
yeah, like there's another section, you have rocks chasing you. That was probably the best section, but best of crap is still crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, this was probably one of my worst levels when it comes to missing a single token. It was extremely deviously.
Let's hide a pressure plate under a, what's it called now?
Dock?
Yes, thank you.
I mean, that one didn't really give me issues. I kind of expected
that one
it
wasn't
after
actually
a
that
while.
bad.
Yeah, after a while, I kind of just had to look around. I was like, oh, okay, I figured it out.
Yeah, the token I was missing it ended up being... This is debatably kind of shoot himself in the foot because I mentioned before I was gamer a lot at this point because his conference is driving me nuts. But there was one that was hidden right beside a small, tight doorway.
Which you were avoiding because bombs?
Oh, yeah. Also, there was an aggressive clown in that room, so didn't want to stay in there for too long.
Oh, yeah, it's in the gem room above the doorway, because that was also the last one I was missing in that stage, too.
Oh, and the clowns, you can't get rid of them with bombs.
Oh, no, of course not.
Straight unkillable. We should have learned something from it, I guess.
Yeah. Robin did not like this stage at all.
Alright, you guys ready to see the token I was missing? It's right here.
You missed that purple one?
No, the one after it you'll see that I grabbed.
You missed that one?
It was stuck in a corner.
It was stuck in a little crevice. I spent hours looking for that.
God.
It's not that full hidden or anything, it's just... If you miss it your first time through, you're never going to look there again.
Exactly! But, yeah. Alright, so we want to talk about... I guess I will, because N talked first last time, so I guess we'll just move on like this. Okay, so... This... Mind-blowing... This is where the music genuinely started pissing me off. This is one of the few stages that it was starting to annoy the hell out of me.
Oh, it was annoying me too, although I don't think it annoyed me as a review, but the fact that I was stuck in the level for so long, it just gets grating. No, it was driving me insane. I hated it. It was bugging me. This could be my least favorite stage. I do like, again, I think the bombs would have been fine if they didn't explode literally upon contact on anything. But, you know, it's like...
Excluding yourself while you're holding it, that's the funny thing.
Yeah, but it's still really annoying that, like, it would just explode on everything. Especially, like, even at the beginning, the first section where you have to destroy the two first walls. I blew up there!
Yeah, I did too!
Like, what? It's just so dumb and ugh. I hate it. It basically, for all the same reasons, man, did every single section sucked. It just, like, the level was boring. It had one of the coolest potential vehicles to use, and it was so underutilized.
I didn't even talk about the vehicle, because I totally forgot about it, but yeah. I actually think the vehicle was okay.
It was underutilized
you don't
heck,
use
though.
it.
Yeah, it's only in one section. It's the only vehicle, I think, in the game that is subjugated to one section and one section only.
I mean, technically the Arabian one, but it's a really big section.
True, the entire level.
Yeah.
But But yeah, no, it's like and honestly, Mayo said that he personally thought the what was it called? He personally thought that the rock falling section was like the most fine section compared to everything else. Yeah. Compared to all the other crap, even though it wasn't even that much better.
Yeah, no, it's not even that good. It's just better than everything else.
I still hated it. I honestly.
Oh yeah, no, I do too. It's just
the only section
better than everything else.
Yeah, so basically for me, the only section that I didn't inherently hate was the room with the vehicle, because I thought the vehicle was kind of cool. That's about it.
It was cool. The only problem I had there's so many bombs.
That area. Never even brought it up. That area, I thought was the only area that I could go into for a while because I couldn't figure out what to do, right?
No, you couldn't figure out how to, like, that you needed to stack stuff around so you could get to new sections?
No, it wasn't that. It was actually how to activate the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not made exactly obvious. So I wound up getting screwed up because of that.
But yeah, basically my sentiments though in general, I feel the same way Mayo did. The only difference is the music wanted me to literally blow my brains out, so I had to like turn it off and turn something else on because it was driving me nuts.
Hopefully I never saved many levels long enough to need that, but I've done it before for Romper Crew, so I'm not above it.
Yeah, that oh my god, that stage music drove me nuts. It's probably the only stage music that truly drove me nuts. The rest, after a while, just kind of like, whatever. Except for one
it's
stage.
background.
Yeah, except for one other stage, which I'll talk about when we get there. But yeah, so M, your opinions on mind blowing? More like this stage is blowing terribly. It sucks. Sorry. Anyways. Hello.
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh,
were you trying to get my attention?
Yeah, I said it's your turn to talk about mind blowing.
Oh, sorry. I was opening my door because it's suffocating in here. Not as suffocating as the stage whenever it comes to the bullshit hole that it puts you in.
Good segue.
Yeah.
It's painful. Nothing redeeming about it. The bomb sucks.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
The bomb has got the, just the nastiest no you card at its disposal.
Call it physics.
Yes.
But what physics?
I will mention that stupid bomb that you have to take down that elevator shaft.
Yeah.
That is awful.
You just show a physics book to, or no, you bring a physicist to show a physics book to the bomb and it just blows up.
We're scientists. We're basically physicists.
I don't get how it works here, though.
Yeah, neither do I.
But honestly, this level, at first I thought it was the level after it that I really hated. It's actually mind-blowing. That is the one that I really hate with a passion.
Yeah, I think it might be my personal least favorite stage.
Actually, it's one of the, passionately hated ones, if you ask me.
Yeah, I genuinely hate the stage.
Oh, that one actually didn't push down.
Yeah, that
Okay, I guess Emerald, it wasn't really crazy.
only partially crazy he is.
You're just figuring this out?
Well, I mean, we're full-blown crazy, so, you can't really trust a thing you say.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, speaking on the physics real quick, were there ever instances where you two had to deal with, where Rocket was just, using his double jump rockets?
Yes, when you landed on, like, a
ground.
platform or something.
Yeah, that was always fun to deal with.
That frustrated the hell out of me. I was actually going to bring it up, but I couldn't find
I'm sorry, what? I couldn't hear you were talking over each other.
Sorry. Explain it, man. Or M. Sorry.
Did you ever have to deal with the occasional occurrence where Rocket would be on the ground, essentially, and he would just activate his double jump rockets?
No, that never happened to me.
Basically, think about it like
this. I got lucky, apparently.
Did this ever happen to you? Did you land on a platform, and because Rocket's wheel slightly went off of the ground, it ended up making you use your double jump, effectively maybe killing you in certain platforming sections.
No, that never happened.
You are so lucky. Me and Mayo had to deal with that.
God.
Or me and Ed, sorry.
You're painfully lucky.
Yeah, that oh my god, especially in the final level, I wanted to, like, oh, I was getting annoyed because it kept happening.
You mentioning that makes me clench my teeth. That's how.
Yeah,
pissed
one of the most
that
frustrating little
move.
physics quirks in the entire game. You're so lucky to make that guy.
Oh my god.
Or maybe you were just taking your platforming very, very, very slowly, so you didn't get it.
I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
the
maybe that's
worst
why you
part
did it.
with additionally with these physics, his idle animations have physics too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So if you're trying to be precise with something, and the little shithead decides to start moving, like, you know, doing his funky robot jams, he can screw you up, no problem.
Yeah, because he hates us. So anyways, back to mind-blowing, and sorry, we got a little off topic, but that was something I did want to talk about, so I'm glad you brought it up.
The enemies in that stage, hate them with a passion, because you're always so close to them.
That's where this is the stage where I learned the ice beam is the greatest thing in the entire
Yeah,
universe.
seriously. The ice beam saved so many times.
I didn't start using that until at the end of the game, pretty much.
Oh, I feel so sorry for you.
Yeah, I know. I used it right away.
I did
Because
too.
it's amazing.
It's really good.
Because having to deal with enemies that do like 2 and 3 damage per hit, yeah, that's always fun to deal with.
Yeah, I would be spamming the ice beam at that point, being like, "Stay away, stay away!"
And thankfully, Ice Beam does have a really big reach, so...
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're trying to grapple something, and the range on that is complete garbage. For some reason.
Yeah. It looks like you should go really far. No.
It's as if it goes farther when you're trying to grapple onto something. But the second it involves enemies, the range just drops.
The range
That's what it feels
decides,
like.
no you. But
I think literally that's as much as I can get. The malicious mushrooms weren't really an issue. They were the one enemy that wasn't an issue. They were actually helpful.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
well, I mean, they were only in one section, I think. Maybe I'm thinking I avoided. No, I avoided. No, there was a 2 section they were using. Actually, I'm trying to take that back.
And here, all they try to do is obnoxiously laugh till you die for some reason. Until you jump 3 times and you just yeet out of their mouth.
And they're like, "Aw." So, all right then.
That's really all I can get out of this, but I absolutely hate that stage with a passion. The vehicle, useful, but it's not memorable to me. But it's so far, you're right on one thing. It is so unused.
Yeah.
That's so disappointing too.
All right, so then let's move on to the
You
next.
technically don't even need it except for 1 ticket, and that's it.
Yeah,
I know that because I didn't use it. Like, you can get around totally fine.
the stalactites in that room. Okay, here, maybe it's just me. It wasn't obvious enough that I can blow these up.
It wasn't obvious to me either. I blew it up by accident.
Yeah, I blew it up by
I got
accident
hit.
too. I didn't
had
know.
a video pulled up and it just showed that. That's whenever the second area was open to me.
Yeah, I agree. Like it was hard for I didn't figure it out on an initial level. So
That is so obnoxious.
Looks like we all kind of got it by accident, or for him he had to look up a guide, which is totally understandable.
Oh yeah.
Not a giant crack. It's just
There's a little. I noticed after I blew up the first one accident. There's a little bit of like a texture offshoot, or not texture offshoot, like a model.
Yeah, there's
offshoot
something
thing.
there, but it's not enough.
It's so small though. It's really hard to tell. So yeah.
It's like as quite literally as if one rock is stacked on another. That's what it looks like.
Or as if it's one rocket stacked on top of each other. I'm sorry. That was terrible.
Well, I mean, that pun is as bad as this game, if you ask me.
Oof.
Oof. Yeah, that's rough.
I'm telling Mom that you just called this game.
So is that everything for the mind stage?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's move on to
Mind-blowing.
Arabian Flights.
ultimately, with mind blowing, that's where my rage started.
So let's move on to Arabian Flights. I actually really like this level.
Yeah,
and Mayo
I think it might be my favorite.
Yeah, it might be my favorite too. Also, this is where my image that we were talking about earlier in the game.
Thank you for that, by the way, friend.
I'm not elaborating any further on it. Just want to mention that is a thing. One thing I do want to say though is Mayo helped me out get the last token because I couldn't find it for the life of me. Luckily, even though that stage I did miss one of the tokens, it didn't bug me. It's like I kind of had fun flying around and stuff. Easily my favorite stage, I think. Yeah, I think
my favorite vehicle.
Yeah, it had the best vehicle. Second best to me actually. For me personally, but. Yeah, I thought it was really fun. I thought all the challenges were fun. I liked the magnet puzzle they gave you. I think overall, yeah, this is definitely the most solid feeling stage, and I'm glad that there was not any evil tokens for 100% completion.
Yeah, which they easily could have made them evil, and they didn't, so thank you for that.
Yeah, so I think overall, it's easily my favorite stage, yeah.
Magnet puzzle?
Yeah, where you have to throw crates onto a wall and it magnetizes unless you skip that, because I know you didn't 100% the game.
Oh, no.
There was a couple spots like that.
That was a bit irritating for me.
I think there was also a spot like that in JoJo's World.
Yeah, there was. But I thought it was fun, so fine. So yeah. But yeah, that's really my opinion. I basically there's nothing I can say that I inherently dislike. Like even missing a token.
I really needed this after the mine stage. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's what I thought. So what's your guys' thoughts? Who wants to go next on? I
basically have the same opinion you do. I really enjoyed the stage. Nothing was particularly annoying. There was one token that was slightly annoying to me just because I was dumb, which is I think it was the A token where you have to jump on a bunch of platforms in order to make one of the shields go away. I, for the life of me, could not make all those jumps without screwing them up. That's also something that's just on me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I personally didn't... At first, I didn't like the stage, but after dealing with mind-blowing...
This is like all of them. We're just like, it's mind-blowing.
Like, it's not mind-blowing, so it's amazing. 10 out of 10.
No, for me it was still terrible.
Oh, you didn't like the
stage? It was the water sections, specifically. Is what really...
there's one water...
He's talking. Yeah, that room is kind of meh, but even then, it's like whatever. But you can also abuse the physics in that and completely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ignore what's it called? You can completely ignore the thingamajiggy. Like you can completely skip some of those sections in there. So I'm not going to spend long in this world. I do not want to be here for as long as I do, if not just for the music.
You actually like the music of this area?
No, I hate it.
You're saying with the mic. Right.
None of the music. Yep. See, look at what just happened for me. Just going down.
Going way too fast.
I don't see what you hit the floor.
Yeah, it actually will detonate on touching the floor.
I never had that happen. I don't doubt it. It's just I never had it happen.
So
well, now I already rock on my opinion. It's not even.
So, Emma, do you have any more to talk about on Arabian Flights? You said you still didn't like it, but is there anything that you were like, okay, this is a bit of a redeeming quality to me or something? Or
well, being able to fly around and not being in closed spaces, that was actually a lot better than, having to constantly fight left and right because, I have to carry a bomb around a really narrow shaft.
Yeah, there is one section in the stage that has bombs, but the area is so much wider.
Yeah.
So much easier to deal with.
So
and I just realized there's... Well, I mean, in the main area at least, there is no... Wait, no, I shouldn't say that. There are enemies that fire bombs, so there are bombs in this area. Technically.
I can see now there are little lines on the stalagmite. It's not enough.
Right
there.
Yeah,
it's almost impossible to tell. Me and Mayo found it by accident, so.
Let's see. The actual vehicle itself was actually fun to use whenever you were actually able to get on things. So whenever you get stuck into a wall, you can just, push against the wall and, just go up it a bit slowly. Just try and finesse your way up it. Which is a bit disappointing.
Or
you'd be, accelerating into the wall.
Are you talking about the carpet?
Carpet.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Just making sure.
But I mean, the carpet ultimately wasn't really an issue. It's just flying in this game and swimming, pretty much the same baggage.
I think the flying was totally fine. Nothing.
Oh yeah, it was fine. I had no issues at all.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is, whenever you actually go through rings, have to.
Oh, you have to be a bit
feels
precise.
like same baggage.
Yeah, you have to be a bit precise.
The rings in this game are almost bullshit. Especially in one of the last stages where it just becomes absolute.
Oh, I know. The next stage is awful for that.
This is not how you're supposed to do this, guys. I just abused the physics. Don't mind me.
Oh, I know. That's how I got it too.
Well, okay. That's one way to crack an egg.
In fact, I'm not even sure how you're quote unquote supposed to do it.
I think you're supposed to put staff things under it and then push it up or something. At least that's what I did. So
that's what I tried to do and done it.
I tried to do it. I couldn't get it to work, so I just broke the physics.
I mean, the one other thing that would make me not like Arabian
flights. Yes, it's Arabian
flights is because it's the way the theme is portrayed.
What do you mean?
It's a particular feeling that I don't quite care for that some games just give off, so I can't really explain it.
I couldn't explain it either.
Yeah, I couldn't either. I personally love the theme.
I thought
it's not the theme that per se is the problem. It's just the way it was portrayed, I guess. It's not offensive or anything. It's just
you thought it was just presented kind of boring, is how I take it.
Yeah, in a sense, and just it's in the way.
Understandable.
If that makes any sense.
I guess the worst that Mobile had is that it had a bit of the Superman fogs, I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad, but you can still see landmarks.
So, alright, do we have anything else to talk about Arabian Flights? We all seem to, so far at least, like it more than the other stages, at least.
Yeah, well, I'm fine with carrying on, so I'm done. Finished talking about Arabian Flights. It's actually one of the more presentable stages.
Alright, so let's move on to Pyramid Scheme. This is personally... Actually... Okay, I would tie this stage. You guys aren't going to agree. I'm just going to say this. I'll let one of you guys go first. I guess I'll let M go first because he has some things to yell at. I will say this is probably tied with Arabian for my favorite. Personally,
I have no idea what my opinion is even now. It's one of those stages.
My frustration is whenever my frustration was really peaking. And I mean, in fairness, it could have been because I didn't, have anything to eat prior, which is, a good point.
He was hangry.
Hangry, yes, but also angry.
He was hangry and angry. The two worst combos.
Because, you've got these boosters that like to throw you up in the air that are surrounded by what I'm assuming is lava walls. Makes perfect sense. You know what? I'm not going to criticize that because a lot of games do that anyway. But the one thing I have to say is that chain platforming puzzle. The one that you're always timed through.
Oh, yeah.
That was
I know that
the
one.
most obnoxious bunch of bullshit I have had to deal with in a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I hate that puzzle. Screw it.
That was horrendous. And it gives you 3 of them.
That was the token I was missing, by the way. Screw that token.
It gives you 3 literal machine parts from it.
Mm-hmm.
And
this
first
is
of all,
one of the
it's better.
Two of them are right
because-
next to each other.
Well, yeah, this is
Yeah.
one of the stages that they clearly trying to push you to get it because the entire stage gimmick revolves around the machine part. This is probably
That's
one of the few
fine.
stages
More
that are
power
like
to
that.
them to do that. It's just with the way that puzzle was presented, the way that challenge was set up was you actually have to use Rocket's momentum to your advantage. And since Rocket's got this lovely jumping problem, that really didn't help. More than likely, you know what I'm talking about, Clutchy.
I didn't personally have issues with it, but I can understand your guys' grievances. So
Was problems with it, sure. Like,
Such as the
there's not a
double...
jump lag, and like I said before, it was jumps a bit light. And that's where it all came to fruition. That challenge right there.
Oh, and if you think that's bad, it gets a lot worse later on. It's just the part whenever you actually get all of the machine parts and you can switch between day and night, well, or light and dark.
or light
really
and dark,
hard to
yeah.
say.
I would say it's more of light and dark at least
Yeah,
because
which is a smart idea. It actually presented one of the more creative ideas there. And I'm glad to see that because, well, yeah, you've got games that will present that. It's just the problem here is the vehicle and the ring challenge.
I love the vehicle. This is easily my favorite vehicle in the
I
game.
hate this vehicle. It's the worst in the game by a mile. I hate it with a passion.
So good.
I love the idea of the vehicle. I
Oh,
really
it's
do.
great. I wanted to like it.
It's a fantastic idea. The problem is the gliding is finicky.
Well, it's finicky, but
And-
also you lose your speed way too fast.
Am I the
Yes.
only one who didn't have issues with the gliding at all? I guess.
Yes,
I figured it
apparently,
out.
because I hated it with a
I
passion.
treat it so.
And
That
when I-
was the
Mayo-
level for me.
And Mayo probably got stuck in lava too, just like I
Oh
did.
yeah, I did.
Quite a
Did
few
you guys,
times.
I died many times from that.
Did you guys treat the gliding like Mario 64 gliding? Because that's what I did.
I treated it more like spiral gliding, and that was probably my first mistake.
Yeah, I think you have to treat it more like the Mario 64 gliding.
Although I never even fully understood Mario gliding, so I don't think
This is one of the. This is one of those instances where a D-pad would have helped
Oh yeah.
because
This
it
being a
is
Nintendo
so
64
the
D-pad,
literal
it'll stop you there.
gliding is so precise that if you just slightly change the degree of the stick, even by 1 degree, it makes a big difference.
Yeah,
I'll
I'll concede
Oh,
that
and
one.
let's not forget about this little detail. This is a completionist issue, but there are floating platforms that are way high in the sky. You want to get all those? Oh, you better master this stupid vehicle.
Yeah, there's also one that's kind of hidden in a stupid spot that I don't know how in God's name they expect you to figure out it's there. Mostly because the draw distance in this game is not good.
And
I
I've
only saw it because I saw the other islands.
And I was actually starting to yell at the game because of this. I'm not even joking.
Damn, I'm
And I
the only
mean,
person that
I'm already
hears-
emotionally immature as is. That didn't help. That really did not help.
It's very interesting that all of us have some. More like I have the only really wildly different opinion because I love the level personally.
The
I
level's
like the
not.
stage, sort of, but
The stage
The vehicle
itself
sucks.
is not an issue per se. It's just whenever you get to the vehicle's use and having to use it is when things become a problem. When you master it, it's probably very fun to actually use.
sure, but
Yeah, and I
maybe
guess
if
I
they
kind of
got
had
the
it
speed
naturally
worked out
because
a
of how
little
I
bit.
took it, which, but I understand your guys' problems and all that stuff. Again, it all makes sense to me. I can see how if you didn't think of using it this way, therefore it's suddenly harder than it should be, blah, 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 blah. Like, I understand that sort of stuff.
It's like the entire vehicle itself is like just a pissed off drill sergeant saying, "You're terrible. You suck at games. No one ever liked you anyway."
Oh,
And even
camera
whenever you're
song.
successful, it still finds a way to treat you like garbage. Am I right, Mayo?
I know what you mean. Like, even if you succeed, there's another version of that puzzle, but this time there's even less slopes you can fly off of.
It's exactly like Hank Hill just walking up the bill and saying, "You're a loser." Just repeating it. It's just that one clip looped over and over and over again. It never ends.
So I mean, I already said everything on my piece. I loved everything about the stage, the vehicle, the puzzles, all that sort of stuff. All my forte.
I've been really negative about it so far. I don't actually hate it though. I just have a lot of very serious problems with it.
I didn't like the stage because of the way it was executed, but I like the idea that it presented.
The idea is great, even if it does feel a little too similar to Hellfire Peaks for my liking.
Hellfire Peaks. Where's it
Banjo-Tooie.
Really? It literally called Hellfire.
Hailfire.
Okay, with one L. Okay.
Hail for ice and fire for fire.
Oh, hail.
Yes.
Like hailstones, okay.
Not Hellfire.
I was about to say.
Yeah, no, I mean...
I like the general idea behind it. The vehicle killed it.
Oh, come on.
But
So,
I mean, I
The
still
spots
did,
that didn't require the vehicle I thought were great. But
this was one of those stages to actually kind of put Arabian Flights to shame whenever it came to that same specific type of vibe it was giving off for me. Because this is a stage I hate because of that, as well as the vehicle.
Do you hate the aesthetics?
It's not the aesthetics per se, it was just the way it was executed, I guess, is what I'm really getting at.
You guys make me sad. I'm gonna cry like a baby.
Don't, please.
I don't have a lot to add. Like, I have a lot of little complaints, mostly vehicle that drag it down. But level's not terrible. I do like the general theme. I think it's neat, even if there are a few puzzles I think were a little BS. I didn't like the time puzzle. There was another puzzle where there was a clock hand spinning around. I could not figure out how to solve that puzzle for the life of me. I had to look it up.
It's actually pretty smart whenever you really see it.
Oh, when you figure it out, it's really smart, but
Oh
it
yeah,
just took so long to figure
I
it out.
figured it out immediately personally, so I enjoyed it and all that sort of stuff still. Also had a lot of fun platforming for the most part for me. Which is
Plus,
great.
they could have brought on a time mechanic with that, but with it being the N64, of course, it's not going to have much to work.
Yeah, no. Like, I know, for example, the Ratchet and Clank games wanted to do that for Up Your Arsenal and Going Commando, and those are a generation ahead, and they couldn't do it. No way.
Well, whenever I say time mechanic, I'm not talking about something overly complex. I'm talking about kind of like doing what Sonic CD kind of done, or tried to do.
I mean, that's what it basically did.
Yeah. In a sense, you could just say it's past and future versions of a stage.
Still kind of entertains me how Sonic CD actually went so far to have a good future for every stage, even though it's impossible to access them through normal means. It gives me
That's
a...
not possible.
One
Huh?
of these days we'll get-
It's not possible. There's multiple ways to get them.
Yeah, I know, it's just... you have to cheat for some of them. But anyway...
Well, I guess we'll move on to the last
Anyway, this is our
main
CD video.
stage then. Food Fright.
Screw this stage.
Hate
This
it.
stage is almost as bad as the mine stage for me.
Second least favorite, still not as bad as mind blowing
Yeah.
to me.
I actually agree with that. But it's one of those kinds of levels high up and, you know, requiring precision in some way.
Yeah. I guess I'll start. First of all, it has a what's it called? A tower in the middle that you have to climb up. I kept falling down that thing so
Yeah.
many times, and it was driving
yeah.
me insane.
Oh yeah.
That was one of my big issues for one. And for two, just the challenges here just frustrated me. They just weren't fun. Like, I don't know, I just didn't like it like almost at all. The aesthetics were not fun or pleasing at all. I know they were trying to go for like a scary.
Yeah, they're trying to go for a scary food combo, which is admirable, but it just doesn't work.
I'm just
You
gonna
end up
say
having to do
this.
one or the other.
The scariest thing in terms of food is just moldy bread.
True.
Moldy bread.
We've played Cat in the Hat on GBA. We know what it's like.
Mhm.
I mean, Okay, I didn't know that, but I mean, I'm not really one for the Dr. Seuss stuff, I guess.
There was just a stage that had gross stuff, and it was the fridge stage.
Let's see. Whenever it comes to my opinion on the stage, okay, I guess some buttons actually press down. Some buttons don't, for some reason.
Probably dependent, but anyways, good. Continue.
Very generic. Too generic.
It didn't feel generic. It actually felt one of the most unique stages
Well, yeah,
to
so
me.
probably the most unique level in the game. It's just that
I mean,
couldn't save it.
It's giving kind of a like a Halloween aesthetic to it, but I mean that's the point, really.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a Halloween stage.
Yeah.
That one clown, though.
Platformers I can think of that do that. The only platformer I can think of other than just that does it is Sonic Adventure 2.
That one clown though could be so obnoxious. I didn't really have issues with it because of the way I had myself parted.
Well, it gave me issues.
But I can see.
Remember that one where you have to fill the clown's mouth with food?
Yes.
Yeah, that one gave me problems. I was like, how does this work?
Because he's just there to be a nuisance, clearly.
Oh yeah, it took me a while to figure out on that one too that you aren't actually supposed to put everything into its mouth.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I get, there's the scale there, but I feel like
It's not exactly the most obvious.
Yeah, like I get what they were trying. Like they had the golden tooth. I understand what they were trying to do, but it had to be so like precise that it was so hard for me to freaking get it to properly work.
Yeah, and again, if you screw it up and throw it out, you have to deal with that stupid clown again.
Yep.
Unless you get him parted in just the right way. That way you can avoid having to deal with him altogether. Like I did.
Which I did not.
I didn't.
So I
And the
pretty
river
much
section
cheesed
was
it.
really annoying. I feel sorry for him because 100% the game you probably barely had health upgrades, I assume. Oh my god, it just gets so much worse in that stage. Like, I died so many times and I had to climb up the stupid tower over and over again, and it was just frustrating. Going around the sides of the area in general, annoying.
Which, technically you don't have to. I found that out way late, but you don't have to. There are types you can go down and it'll warp you straight into that big area with the spider bot.
Yeah, but you have to be at the upper section.
Well, yeah, you have to get up there once.
Yeah, but when you die, you have to climb back up there, and I don't know. Traversing this level was a pain in the ass to me, to say the least.
Well, I mean, it's one of those towering levels, isn't it?
Yes, when it really shouldn't be, in my opinion.
I really feel like it was built for that. It was... You go around the bottom of the tower, and then you just... But instead of climbing a tower, you just spin around it, because the machine leads you up there, and then that does all the work.
Yep. I was so not a fan of the level, though. Oh my god, I hated it. Not just mind-blowing, probably because the music wasn't driving me insane. That alone made it better.
The word mechanics I liked. I actually did like the last section, the stage when it opens up a bit.
Yeah.
But it's just too little too late at that point.
That section is probably my
Also, there were some really
section and
deviously hidden tokens there, which I was not a fan of that, per se, but...
Luckily, I didn't have too many issues personally with it, but yeah, I could see where you could. I think there was maybe like a few things.
They had silver tokens on silver ground. That alone gave me issues.
So,
I mean, I really didn't have an issue with the stage altogether because I wasn't aiming for 100%, but I was also trying to get the game done as quickly as possible because this is where I actually developed a deep hatred for the game.
Dang it. What did the game do to you? What did the game touch you on?
Point to the doll. Where did it touch you?
It didn't do anything except make me, just a very unpleasant person through the entirety of it.
That sucks. But we'll get to the rating soon enough anyways. But you have anything else to add on to Food Fright besides aesthetics seem fine, all that sort of stuff, but it was just ruined by the kind of climbing and the annoyance
confusing
of everything.
But
yeah.
once
Also,
the climbing for the most part, it's just
The outer section was confusing me too. I totally forgot to mention that. Like trying to figure out where I was like, I thought I was on this side, but I'm not on this side, but I am.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I had that issue even after I beat level 100%. I still wasn't 100% sure. And in a sense, you kind of have to do that twice because the last section is very reminiscent of the first section.
Not a surprise.
Yeah.
Because it's two halves with some, just literal color swap.
Pretty much. In the stupid river section inside, that one monster was annoying. Getting hit by
how it
everything.
sends you like three light years in one direction.
Yes.
That was always fun to deal with.
If we have nothing else to add on to that stage, we can move on to the final world. This is not a traditional world. It's basically a gauntlet of all the level themes together for the final boss, JoJo's world. So here's my take on it. I think the challenges, except the paint one, are all pretty good and pretty, fun. You can take your time for the most part, barring, a few sections. I like that, but the thing that really kills it for me is if you screw up, it's okay. Oh, maybe he has to let off some steam. He sounded pretty angry. But yeah, if you screw up in any little section, you have to go all the way to the end. In some sections, you can lose 2 hits because you get hit by one thing, and then you would fall through the ground, and then you'd fall off, and you'd take 2 hits worth of damage.
But those add up.
I think this is one of these stages where I actually really like the challenge given. The thing that completely ruined it for me is the fact that there's 0 checkpoints, and by God, if you screw up too much, it's like the worst thing in the world, essentially.
Oh yeah, I feel so bad for Emerald because he probably didn't have all those hits.
Yeah, that's another part where all the lack of hits.
We had all the hit points, or at least I think I had hit points. I'm not sure.
So did I. I don't think it caps off. What's it called? Caps off evenly, which is annoying, but
then I probably did have them all.
Yeah, I had the same amount as you did, so I assumed that I did too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those stages where I wanted to I don't think I dislike it.
Good ideas. I only had 2, 3, and 2 of them you already went over. The third issue I had was the ending. You have to stay on the Super Ball way too long.
Oh yeah.
It's way too easy to screw up. But honestly, other than that, I think it's fine. I think the challenge is totally reasonable.
And there was one section of physics that were really wonky. It was one of those things you had to turn while getting a far distance. It was the one that was upside down instead of right side up.
Don't remember that one.
But yeah, that one sucked.
I didn't have issues with that one. So I am remembering one that was kind of annoying. I think it was the pyramid scheme section where you had to spin a wheel around to get the platform back. That one was not very obvious at all what you had to do. I figured it out eventually, but even the video guide I was using didn't help because they just broke it in half.
That one I understood after screwing around. I couldn't figure it out until I was like, "Oh, you're supposed to rev up your wheel." I
figured that part out. But I didn't figure out that you had to rev it in one direction and rev it in another direction.
Yeah, that took me a little bit.
That's what threw me off.
At least I understood it. But yeah, nothing is really, especially because that's the only time that ever pops up. You think in the game? I don't think there was ever a section where I had to do that.
There was never. It's not I was wondering if that was part of the reason why I was wondering if I missed a level.
Which is fair. But yeah, no, and then the spider part was annoying because the physics could just kill you like RNG basically. With the exploding the spider legs and stuff. Sometimes
I broke that one in half and I didn't even mean. I only found out how you're supposed to do it because of the tip it gives after. What I ended up doing, I didn't even bother with the bombs. I went straight up to the top and I jumped on the head. It worked.
Yeah, so what I did is I ran through the first section and I realized I had no HP and I was like, I wonder if I'm doing this wrong. And that's when I figured out how you were supposed to actually do it. And I was just like, oh.
Yeah, no, I only figured out because the hint he gives, the legs explode. Yeah, no.
You should be kind of
Just jumped
glad.
on it.
In my opinion, you should be kind of glad that you didn't have to deal with it like that, because
Just know if you're trying to play the game, there's an easy way out. Just jump on the head.
because it's really obnoxious. Otherwise, well, now we just gotta wait for M, because I want to know his opinion, unless he
Yeah,
muted
when
him.
he's done cussing at the storm.
Yeah, unless he was muted on purpose for the reasons of us talking. Is he here? M. Are you here?
Hello?
So, Mayo, how's your day, man?
Do we just move on?
I mean, the only thing to really talk about at this point is, like, ending and final thoughts sort of thing. I guess I'll move on, because there is something I will mention. M's not here, unfortunately, to talk about it, but fun fact, if you don't 100% the game, you don't get the credits.
That is weird.
It really is, no. So M didn't get the credits.
Like, there
we
is a
did.
special credit. I assume that you got the normal credits if you got the any percent, then 100% is where you got the unique one where you're running on the Sucker Punch logo.
Nope, you get no credits if you don't 100% the game. It's 100% the game to get the credits.
It's weird.
It really is.
I wish I knew that ahead of time. I wouldn't have thought I missed a level.
But yeah, that's it. You save the world, you save the park. They call it
And,
Rocket
it's called
Land.
Rocket World, unfortunately,
yeah.
the poor walrus.
I mean, he seemed like he didn't
anything
care.
wrong.
He didn't seem like he cared after 1 second.
He was really sad about it. What are you talking about? He was crying.
Oh well, he did nothing. If anything, JoJo is.
I'm
good-
back.
Oh, welcome back. We were
Oh, you're
talking
back.
about the ending. waiting
Sorry about
for-
that.
It's fine. So
I did say be right back. So.
You did, yeah. So talk about JoJo's World, because we need your opinion on it.
Ooh.
You can vent out. It's okay. I'm here for you.
It's alright.
Sucker Punch, I don't know who the hell you had design it, but that person, they deserve. They
They deserve to be sucker punched.
No, you
Here,
see,
let's go.
you gotta be careful with that because YouTube, will say that, oh, you were, enacting, you were trying to enact violence. So instead, I'm gonna say this: you need the saltiest, most sour piece of candy that will make your whole set of lips implode to the point where your nostrils are your new mouth. Just saying.
Jeez. That
That
sounds
might be
worse
one
than
of
a
the
stage.
worse than
I
a
think
sucker
that's
punch.
Of course, they'll be able to use their mouth again. Okay, maybe I'm being a little bit too nasty about it, but that stage. Ooh,
How long did it take you?
I would say probably maybe an hour.
Oh my lord.
It took me like
This
15-ish minutes,
obstacle
and that's worth the
course-
stupid colored puzzle.
This made me hate JoJo as a character. It actually did. I know the story's simple. I never would have expected to actually hate a raccoon for something so stupid.
Just play Sly Raccoon, you'll like things. Hey, Mayo, does this remind you of anything?
Does what? The carpet?
Oh my god, why? It's not the
I see
carpet.
you. No, I see it. I know. Screw you. He never really grew up in those 10 years.
I really didn't.
He
But
did.
no, I do.
But-
I aged down. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, you aged up, but your maturity is still pretty much at what it was.
Exactly.
I can accept that answer.
But I'm just gonna say this: I'm not gonna wish anything awful or foul to anyone over it, but I'm not just disappointed. I'm thoroughly frustrated that someone at an official company threw this together and called it a day. I'm so frustrated even now that this is something that someone threw together. Because I'll say this, it didn't take me this long. I would say probably for even the earliest hat in time. Death Wish is to get through This somehow, I think, managed to be harder.
You haven't played the app, the real
I'm,
rough deck
I'm not
glitches.
exaggerating. It's such a crock of shit. It's not even funny. And honestly,
so just so you know, me and Mayo's opinion basically was it had fine idea. We thought it had fine ideas. The thing that we didn't really like was, you know, you died, you had to start at the beginning, and the paint section was stupid.
Paint section sucks.
Yeah.
Yes. The
It was
paint.
even worse.
The paint one is the worst part.
Yeah, easily.
I didn't even like the original paint puzzle, and this one's so much worse.
Yep.
I had to pause buffer and try to get it.
Pause buffer, huh? Oh boy.
I don't blame him.
Because I had to figure out what the colors were.
Colorblind.
Yeah.
But yeah, so is there anything else you have to add on to that though, Em, for that stage? Or
I don't wish ill will on anyone. I'm just very
except the guy who made that stage. Screw you.
No, not even him. But I do hope he,
Reflected on his actions.
Yeah, nice bomb, by the way.
Thanks.
Ooh, very well done. I think the stream's behind me. But yeah.
And I really hope he, reflects while also eating that super sour candy that will not, do permanent damage.
That's also
I hope
salty
it
for
doesn't.
some reason.
That's what now?
It's also salty for some reason.
Yes, of course. It has
Because I was extremely salty. And
Ah.
so.
Okay, yeah, now it makes sense.
It all makes sense now. But okay, then we talked
That's
about
it.
the ending already. So you didn't get any credits because you didn't 100% the game. How awkward did that feel to you, Em?
It was not worth it, even if it was, to go and get everything 100%.
I'm just saying, did it feel awkward though, beating the game and you didn't get any credits or anything? The game just kind of ended.
Yeah?
So when you 100% the game, you get a special credit sequence and the only credit sequence where you run around the Sucker Punch logo and you get to pick up little like cartridges or whatever of
The developers.
This
So-
should have been... This should have been if you just finished the game regardless.
I'm
I beat
okay.
it, okay? I beat it, okay? The credits should have rolled, okay?
I think there should have been at least normal credits for people who beat
Yeah.
the game.
That would have worked fine.
It's really bizarre that there's no credits unless you 100% the game. I do find that really weird. But yeah, so then yeah, we talked about the ending and how it's Rocket World, not
Yep.
Whoopie World, or
The
definitely not Sly
Walrus is a little
Raccoon World.
upset.
Whoopie World sounds...
Sly Raccoon gets his revenge in the end. Do you remember seeing the rocket show up in Sly Raccoon?
True. Rip Rocket.
The name Whoopie World just... It sounds so raunchy, you know that?
Not to me. You just have a
You're
dirty
either.
mind, and I'm the immature person here. Shaking my
Hey, I did the dirty mind, so do you, okay? You're the one showing us,
I had admitted to it, but I
Oh,
said even
yeah.
I didn't think of it like that. But well, that's overall Rocket Robot on Wheels. What are you guys' just final thoughts overall then?
Not worth playing. I mean that.
He doesn't mean it, guys. You should play it.
No, I genuinely mean it.
What about you, Mr. Mayonnaise Doctor?
Thanks, I think I went into it expecting it to be better than it was, but part of that might have just been because Sucker Punch and I do like the Sly games a lot. And this was not that. I guess the very least thing I can take it across is they got better, substantially better. And,
It fascinates
like
me
this
that
game
it...
is awful. I don't think it's awful at all. So like if you're a fan of 3D platformers, should you play it? Sure. If you have a few hours to spare, go ahead. But
Yeah, it's a short game. It'll take you like tops 10 hours if you're really bad at games to 100% it. I think,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
There are parts about it I really like. And will I go back and play it again someday? Honestly, probably yeah. But I don't know. I'm just so torn on it. I
Yeah.
don't hate it. I don't love it. But it's not a 5 out of 10 either.
So, my final thoughts are, I liked it more when I played it originally. I know me and Vic, we really enjoyed the game, but now that I've played through the game... Did my controller just die? Oh, no, it didn't. Yeah, no, now that I've played through it, I don't know, I'm kind of torn on it, too. I think it's a fine game. It has its moments. I think the physics are, for the most part, fine, and I think that's probably the biggest thing it has going for it. For whatever that's worth to people. Some of the stages are fine. Some of the stages are mind-blowing. And
Stages are mind-blowing for the other reasons.
yeah, exactly. And overall, I think it's okay. Like Mayo said, I think it is worth playing for people that are a fan of collect-a-thons and games of this nature. I think you guys will enjoy the game and have fun. And for the most part, I would basically say 100% the game, go back and 100% the levels. If you really think you want to go for it, the token, getting all the tokens in the way is going to be a pain in the ass. But the rest are
yeah, like
pretty
that's
straightforward.
another big criticism, of course.
Yeah, the 100%ing is not.
Especially because the game's completion isn't nice and even. 84 total tickets, 1,400 total tokens, and the health bar doesn't go all the way across his waist out.
That's more of an OCD thing, but yeah, it's annoying.
I know, it bugs me to no end.
So, I guess overall, I know Mayo won't give a rating. What are you guys' ratings?
Probably guess
though?
Emerald's rating.
Oh, I know M's rating, yeah.
2 out of 10.
Dang.
Good. I mean, I knew it was coming, and I still think it's too harsh.
Crazy. So, I guess overall, I would say it's about a 6 out of 10 for me. It's slightly above average. I know there's a lot of people that really, really love the game, but
I know there's
overall,
people that will absolutely die on the hill of it is an underrated classic on the 64, is it?
nah. Stick with Mario 64.
Or Banjo-Kazooie.
Or
that
Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo-Kazooie aged better, so go with Banjo-Kazooie. But yeah, that's really it. And I guess since Mail doesn't give a rating, what would you say then instead? Oh, you did say it. I guess you did say with your final thoughts. Play it if you like platforming.
Yeah,
games
basically. Like, there are other platform games in the era that I think are infinitely better. Like, any game from the Spyro trilogy, which is also Collect-a-thons, infinitely better than this.
Banjo-Kazooie. I don't know about Tooie for you.
No, definitely not Tooie.
Yeah, fun
It's
fact.
definitely better than Tooie.
You can still buy this game, I think even brand new, on Amazon.
You can buy a lot of things brand new on Amazon. It
Oh,
only
yeah,
costs a
I
fortune
know.
on there.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, well that's Rocket, our thoughts. So Emerald Master gets to choose the next 2 games we're playing. So what is this next game that we're playing that me and Mayo have never heard
And
of?
do we need to reinstall Adobe Flash?
Yes.
That's important to know.
No, not that I know of. Let me actually hunt it down right quick. It should be real fast.
What is the name of the game? Tell us.
I'm trying to get the name of it.
He doesn't know the name of his game!
Beast. The
What is it?
Undying Beast.
And
Something
I-
that was just recently released.
and
It's free.
And I Am Beast.
The Undying Beast.
Oh, I like my name more.
There you go.
Okay, well, I guess we'll see you guys next time when we do M's first chosen a game called Undying Beast for the PC and nothing else. So,
This
thank
must
you all.
be a looking game I've seen in a long time.
So, thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys in the next episode of the Romper Crew next one. With
See you
Undying
then, goodbye.
Beast. Have a good one.
Laters.
Contenders.